Wahai Achievers came about another 365 100 books, and it's The First Assistant by Clare, Naylor and Hare. One step closer to the red carpet. Now this I got in my local library. It was in a box where books are 10 pence. It's fallen apart. It's just, yeah. So one thing I do love, I mean, this book was well there before me. Okay, something to be proud of. And it's about a decade old, but I was determined that this book would have one last hurrah. And because it's not exactly fit for even the charity shop bag. But anyway, the further adventures of talent agency assistant Lizzie Miller and her encounters on a slippery Hollywood slope. Lizzie Miller, the smart and witty East Coast girl, clinging for dear life on the bottom rung of the Hollywood ladder, has been promoted. No more coffee runs and sorting thumbtacks by Carla for the first assistant. Lizzie is now making decisions and learning the ins and outs of the business. And unlike other airheads, she vows not to be wooed by the glamour and mystique of La La Land. Though with a smart and wealthy boyfriend and diamonds galore, getting harder for Lizzie to keep her pumps firmly on the ground. Full to the brim with smooths and snub and wheeling dealing, the first assistant is a wry and witty glimpse of life behind the Hollywood curtain. Okay. Also, is this a sequel, which I didn't know? Okay, it's obviously the second assistant to the original one. You don't really need to have read the first one. I didn't. You kind of get the gist of what's going on. What's going on. And one thing I do love is this. We're a book with two authors, by Clare Naylor and Hare, who have worked in the industry for quite some time. They really, really mesh well together, their narrative voice. It's such a fun, frothy look, but also a nice satirical edge about Hollywood. I mean, let's face it. I'm from London, British, obviously accent gave that one away. I view La La Land, I view Hollywood as hell. I absolutely view Hollywood as hell. I would never, you know, any film set in Hollywood, okay, everyone's beautiful and immaculate, and I couldn't cope with that, okay? I couldn't cope with that kind of world. But obviously Lizzie Miller wants to be a part of it, and she is gutsy and forthright and determinator. And it's quite funny how it starts off. Actually, I'm going to start and read the first how this book opens, okay? Alright. This morning, my boyfriend Luke Lloyd called me from vacation in Prague and told me that he loved me because I was normal. By this I know he meant simply that what he's dreamed of since he arrived in Hollywood 15 years ago. I'm the kind of girl who can read the newspaper on a Sunday morning and not without having a hissy fit. If I'm not in them, I don't have a relationship with food. The difference between a G8 and a G4, and why this may not be asking too much of the rest of the world's population in this town, makes me as scarce as hen's teeth. There are many more disturbing reasons why I'm not normal that I do wish for my boyfriend to find out about. They are: in my wallet I have a platinum Amex card that does not belong to me, but it was given to me by my boyfriend to use as flagrantly as I choose. But despite spending my entire life dreaming of such things, thus far I haven't even bought a tank of gas on it. 2. I could have given up a meaningless job as first assistant, aka slave, who enables her boss and his forays into drinks, drugs, pornography, and cheating on his wife, who happens to be one of my best friends, and gone to Prague for 3 months to keep my freaky, doormat, haired producer boyfriend company, aka out the foul cut of his ex-girlfriend Emmanuel, who's playing the lead in his latest epic Dracula's Daughter, but I didn't. I pretended to him that I was contractually bound by the agency to stay. 3. I cannot afford toilet paper for the house I live in, so I just steal it from the bathrooms at the agency, various restaurants across town. This is because I spent the equivalent of 3 paychecks on one dress. 4. I rolled with a tennis coach who helps you to come to terms with the shadows of your personality. If you can master your backhand, you can conquer your emotional demons. Tennis skills and mental health for one, and I happen to believe this is true. 5. I'm addicted to a Japanese number puzzle called Sudoku. I'm tired book of these puzzles and hide them behind the Hollywood Reporter on my desk. Last week I destroyed a month's worth of filing that I neglected to do because of addiction. Can it be a matter of time before I found out? I like the fad called Sudoku because obviously in the last 10 years Sudoku's totally taken off. Lisa Lohan gets a mention in this. Harvey Weinstein gets a mention in this, okay, as well, which is, okay, we're not going to talk about him anymore. But this, Lizzie is a gutsy and determined, but she's also beautifully, beautifully naive. This is when she's been invited to a party, okay? Hold on, this is page 54. Alright? Right. did you do, Jessica? I smiled and relaxed into my new role as, if not one of them, at least a person with a name. It was the first time I'd ever been at a soiree like this, and I had to serve drinks and make sure the population didn't get Emerald Everhart pregnant. Reputation for having sex with strangers in the bathroom stall was not merely the invention of the tabloid press. I discovered it at last agency party, but here I was, a fully fledged guest for once. What do I do? Jessica took a half step backwards and looked at me as if my mental illness hadn't been quite diagnosed accurately yet, but she was determined to figure out what it was. I sensed I made a faux pas, but I couldn't tell what. I'm sorry, Sarah, said I realising my mistake. How old are your children? I don't have children, Jessica said warily, as if she suddenly diagnosed my illness and decided it might be contagious. Oh, I see, I smiled. How's the charity work going? Oh, charity, oh, great, well. Jessica finally dragged her uncomprehending eyes off me and turned to focus on Lara. Oh, great, really well, in fact. I'm going to have a lunch for landmine victims at the Ivy on the shore next month. You have to come. Well, how was I supposed to know that even the women without children didn't have jobs? I thought the days of a housewife had gone out with the ark, especially if you didn't have a husband. Clare had a lot to learn about the Malibu divorcee. Exactly. Ladies who lunch, darling. Ladies who lunch. So, obviously, Lizzie gets pretty much pimped out. So it's just my leg. Lizzie gets pretty much pimped out by her boss, who gets a car in this, for her to be the assistant for Emerald Everhart, who is like this new up-and-coming Scarlet. She has a few shades of Lindsay Lohan about her. Actually, Lindsay Lohan actually gets a shout at the front of the book as well. Start of the book. So, she has a shades of Lindsay Lohan about her, but she's actually quite sus to how the industry works. She's diva-ish and she's a bit of a cow, but she's also... One thing I liked about this is, obviously, Emerald Everhart could have been a total diva bitch, nightmare. But she's actually quite compassionate. She's very kind of insecure in this Hollywood role. She's seeking a kind of a confidant, a friend, and she actually finds that in Lizzie, and their interactions are quite funny. Even when Emerald acting like a bit of a bitch, at various points it shows a kind of caring personality. It kind of is an example how a good person can go to Hollywood and it can totally overthrow them. A normal person can become a diva. They seem to be surrounded by yes people. Okay, no one can be honest with them. So, here we are. This is when they're in Thailand on this Vietnam War film, and Emerald's gained weight, and they're on this sprout diet. The good news was that both Emerald and I had lost 10 pounds. The bad news is that we both had such bad indigestion we were too embarrassed to talk to anyone else on the production, and we were starting to get very sick from each other's company. I wanted to have a change of the set without the head of Carmen Cash, our rival, on a platter thanks to Klein's expert casting negotiation at Princeton University. Peace had resumed, and for the moment Ken was behaving himself with a little help from the powers that be, namely Jack Hudson. Yeah, just little bits like that, you know. I mean, one thing I liked about Lizzie is that she's a bit dumb in places, she's woefully naive, and also she works at this agency, and there is a... Okay. She has a rival, Amber. Cool, calm, calculated, British, and a bitch. That's all I'm going to say. But this really, 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 really kind of encapsulates the kind of superficial, artificial world of Hollywood that these women inhabits. And I get her passion, but I get her passion, but it was actually really, really good. This is a world where, even though she gets a producing credit, okay, she's very, very much still bottom of the totem pole until that beautiful, beautiful moment. Now, this is where, okay, I'm not going to spoil this book anymore, but I really, really... Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. So there's a bit I fell out, okay, which I was going to read out, where she gets gets nominated for Academy Award, and she gets invited to the Vanity Fair party, and basically her ticket's stolen because everyone's still out to get her. She still has no respect in the industry, okay. But it's quite a good book, it's well written, and yeah, I do recommend it. So, The First Assistant by Clare, Naylor and Mimi Hare, and it's really, really good. So, sign off, YouTubers. And bye now.